Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Shodo Double Cross Kamen Rider 6. So I'll go ahead and pop this open here and you can see the case breakdown. Now I don't know if this is going to be the same for every case, but this is the case breakdown that I got. So we get 2 of Decayed, we get 2 of Zangetsu, we get Couga Pegasus, we get Couga Rising Pegasus, we get O's Sagozo, we get Utopia Dopant, and then we get 2 of the accessory box. So you get 3 extras. Not a full extra set. I don't know why they do it this way. I guess because these also have to go out to retailers. I really appreciate it when they used to just sell sets of everything for the candy toys, so you could just get 1 of every box. It's not a big deal. It's not like you're overpaying by a ton, and you could probably find a friend who needs 1 of these or something like that, but it's just weird, and like I said, it's not always the same. Some people got, I think some people got, yeah, maybe it is always this breakdown. I don't know. I'd have to compare online. But in any case, let's go ahead. We'll start taking a look at some of these boxes. So I don't know how many Decades I have at this point. I believe he was in Shodo X. He's been in Shodo. I think he was in Shodo Versus. Obviously, they do Decade a lot here. But this should have the updated articulation with like the toes and everything. So just constantly keep improving. So we get another Decade. Not another Decade. An additional Decade. Here is Zangetsu. Looks pretty good. Excited for him. We had Gaim in the last box, so continuing on with those. Then we have Couga Pegasus. Now again, I had just done these in Shodo not that long ago. Well, it seems like not that long ago. I'm sure it was longer than I think, but no stickers, so hooray. I'm excited for this. Then we have the Rising Pegasus with the gold accents. Looking nice. Then we have another O's form finally. We have Sagozo. So this is our 4th form of O's at this point. So we can do some more combo switches and things like that. Then we have Utopia Dopant, which I have to admit, it's been a minute since I've seen double, and I don't really remember this guy. But he looks pretty cool. Getting some more double villains is always fun. And then we have the accessory pack. Now, the accessory pack has a bunch of stuff in it. I believe this is the Violent Emotion head for Decade. You also get a Neo Deca driver if you want to switch that out. You get the Ride Booker in both the sword and gun mode. That crazy missile launcher that he always comes with. You have the Melon Defender. You have all the different versions of Pegasus and Rising Pegasus's weapons. And then you actually get some new driver parts for O's, which I think is really cool, where the metals are actually colored in. For the combos only, so if you mix and match, it's not going to work. And ultimately, that's why they started off not painting them, because they wanted you to be able to mix and match, and they didn't want them not to work. But I guess maybe some people complained or asked for this kind of thing. So it's nice to have it. I mean, if you want to display a full combo, you can go ahead and pop this part on and it'll actually match. And then they have a the reader there is actually painted. I have no idea. I've tried to look. I don't know what these are, and I don't even think they're listed here. Like, I've gone through, this says the Violent Emotion head, this is the Neo Deca driver, this is the 2 versions of the Ride Booker. I don't know what Giganto is. I'm assuming it's this, but I don't know that. Then we have Melon Defender. Then we have the 2 versions of the Pegasus gun. Then we have the 2 versions of the Rising Pegasus gun. And then these are all the O's drivers and the O's reader. So these are not even listed. I don't know what these 2 are. If someone knows, please tell me in the comments. I do not know. But anyway, that's it for the assortment. I'm going to go ahead and get these all opened up and we'll take a closer look. So here's the full wave out of the packaging. We'll start here in the center with Decade. He does look pretty great, I have to admit. Really nice paint there on the helmet. Nice paint everywhere here on the torso. You have the driver here. Paint here on the thighs and the shins. Now for all of these, they pretty much have the same articulation. You have the head on a ball joint. So you have a nice range of motion there. You can look up, look down slightly, tilt side to side, no problem. Look side to side, no problem. Now, he has these shoulder pads that are connected to the torso, but you have a ball joint under that, so you can get a pretty good range of motion until it gets kind of restricted by that. You have a bicep swivel, I would say slightly over 90-degree bend there in the elbow. You can swivel the hands as well, and of course he does come with different hand options that we'll get into in a moment. You have a ball joint here in kind of the mid-torso and a ball joint at the waist. Then you have a ball joint here in the hip. Kick about 45 degrees out to the side. kick decently forward, although it is kind of hindered. Kick a little bit back. You have a thigh swivel there. I would say over 90 degrees, maybe like 110 degrees there in the knee. And then you have a ball joint here in the ankle, as well as the tilt there for the toes. So it's a really nice amount of articulation. Now, I have the sword mode of the Ride Booker here that does come in the accessory pack, but the figure itself comes with the closed up version of the Ride Booker, which is nice. And you can just unpeg that when you want to use it in the sword mode. I just have them both on for now. So also in the accessory box, you have the gun mode of the Ride Booker, and you also have the Neo Deca driver. So if you wanted to switch these out, you just unpeg this, and then you just pop this one on in its place. Pegs on very simply. I kind of like the look of the regular driver better just because it does have the one paint application, whereas this is just fully pink. But I do like that they gave you both options. So you can absolutely use either one. And again, very simple to switch in and out. But yeah, he looks good. Now, for his other accessories, he does have this other head. I think this is the Violent Emotion head. I am not 100%. It might be when he uses the Neo Deca driver, you know, because really the only thing I can tell is different is that little jewel there is purple as opposed to gold. And it is a little bent from being in the packaging, the antenna there. I think for Violent Emotion, the eyes are a little different, and these do look a little different. You can kind of see towards the inside, so I'm not 100% sure. This is either Violent Emotion or the Neo Decayed head. I don't know. I think it's Violent Emotion. I'm not 100% sure. But that is included in the accessory box. You also have the giant launcher thing. Now, you do have to actually assemble this. So this comes in several pieces. When you first get this in the accessory box, there is a kind of central piece here. There are two pieces that clip on the sides. Then these kind of four box pieces clip on. And then you have a piece here in the front that clips over. And then you have the four missiles. So it is a little bit of a build. There aren't really instructions for it, but it is fairly intuitive. You can kind of figure out how it's supposed to go. This side has little cutouts for this kind of bulge right here. And that's how you can tell how to put them on. But little trial and error and you can get it. And these can come off. So you can pop these off like you're firing them at somebody. And then they just kind of wedge onto a peg on there. So there is that. I think that's it for him for accessories from the box. Now when it comes to alternate hands, he has the most of anyone in this set. He's got a card set of hands, which I love, so he can have either hand holding a card. He's got a closed fist set of hands. He's got kind of an open, splayed out set of hands. And then what I have right now on him, there is kind of a tighter grip, which I assume is for the sword. So you can see that here. And then it's also like a gun. Like you can see how this is kind of held out. This finger is a little held out for the gun version of the Ride Booker. Honestly, you could use these hands for either. So it's really just your preference. But if you kind of want him to have a little bit more of a grip on the sword, you can. And you can see how this finger kind of has like the trigger finger extended for the gun version of the Ride Booker. So, and then I've just got kind of one of open hands over here on this side. So pretty cool. He's got both sets of gripping hands. He's got the open set of hands. He's got the card set of hands, a closed fist set of hands. So he is decked out. I mean, between what comes with the figure and the accessory box, I think he's got the most accessories of anyone in this set. So he's really, really cool there. We're going to put him off to the side here. And next up, we will check out Zangetsu. I'm a little bummed that the sword is done in white, but it makes sense because everything else is done in white, except the set of hands that I currently have him holding. Well, he's not holding his hands, but the set of hands that I have equipped. So for whatever reason, these are done in black. You can see the peg there is black, and then they're painted white. And it's really caked on there, and it's already kind of starting to scratch. But you can't not use them because it's the only set of gripping hands that he comes with. So he's got a closed fist set of hands and then like a very open set of hands. And those are done in white plastic. I really don't understand why they did it this way. It's really kind of a bummer. I'm really worried, especially taking weapons in and out, that paint is going to, rub off over time. You can take the sword and slide it here into the holster, just like with Gaim. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm assuming maybe they were on a sprue with the driver. I mean, the driver came attached. I don't get it. I don't understand why these hands were done in black and then painted white, when I feel like these are the hands you're going to utilize most, because he's almost always holding the sword and shield. I don't know why that was done, so that's kind of a bummer. But the helmet looks great. The armor here, I think, is really nicely painted. Now, again, the shield comes in the set, the accessory set, so he does not come with the shield. And then there's this white piece here that kind of you push into the shield so he can hold it. And then there's another version of it, so if you want the handle to be the other way around, so I guess if you want him to kind of have the shield more alongside his forearm, that's also possible. You can just switch that out. It's just a weird, the hand thing kind of bums me out. I mean, as long as the paint doesn't wear off too much, but like I said, I already have a little chip there. So that's kind of a bummer. And he's got all the same articulation as the other figures, as Decade and everything. The gold here on the front looks nice. Now, of course, it would be nice if this patterning was painted. I totally understand why it isn't. It wasn't on Gaim either. Where is Gaim? I have him handy, don't I? Yeah, here he is. So he didn't have the pattern painted either. If you're a customizer and you want to do that, I think that could work. But these two still look pretty good together. So I'm happy for that. The helmets are really nice, which I appreciate. Honestly, my biggest concern with him is those white painted hands. But other than that, he looks really good. All right, next up, we'll take a look at our Cougas. So we have Pegasus Couga here. Really nice. All this green paint looks sharp. The helmet looks great. The paint down here on the forearms and the wrists. Down here for the knees and the ankles. That all looks great. The driver looks great. Really nicely painted there. Again, all the same articulation. Now, he's got a little bit better in terms of the shoulders, because that, isn't really in the way. There's still a shoulder pad over here. That gets in the way slightly, but not as bad as Decade. And I didn't really show Zangetsu's shoulders. His shoulders aren't too bad. I mean, you can front to back, no problem. A little bit out to the side, you kind of hit into the armor, so you can't really go out that far on him. But Pegasus looks pretty good. And then in terms of accessories for him, you do get both versions of his gun. So the smaller version, and then like the drawn back, like it's ready to fire version. These are included in the accessory box. They do not come with the figure. So if you want these, you have to get the accessory box. And then for hands for him, we have a closed fist set, an open hand set, and then he's kind of got like a grasping set. And then this kind of two-finger set, which I assume is for when you're kind of drawing back the bow. Something like that. You'll see that's how I have Rising Pegasus. I'll get there in a moment. But so I have a grasping hand and then the arrow drawback hand on him. So he comes with 4 sets of hands. But yeah, helmet looks good. I like that quite a bit. And then if we take a look at Rising, you can see that it's basically the same thing, just with more paint. Because you can see he's got the same molded collar there, just now it's painted gold. You can see the trim there on the shoulder is now just painted gold. Head looks, I think, exactly the same. I don't think there's any difference there. The driver, I believe the driver, is it different? I think it is molded different and painted differently. So these two are always in the set together because it's very easy for them to, kind of all they really have to do is change the driver and do a few more paint apps. And it's, they can kind of basically use one figure twice, so I'm sure they love that. But it does look good. And then here I have him with the Rising version. You can see it's a little bit more souped up when compared to the regular version. And then I have him kind of drawing that back with the hand with the 2 fingers and the grasping hand holding it. So again, looks good, nice articulation, and it's kind of a very easy repaint for them, which is why you'll always see these in the same box together. I'm sure when they get to Mighty, they'll do the same thing. Let's see, we talked about his hands. Now, Rising's hands, I believe, are the... I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm confusing myself. Rising has basically the same set of hands. So you can see that Rising has the molding, though, on the back of the hand, which is really cool. But it is the same set of hands. Like, it's the same two-finger set of hands, the grasping set, the closed fist, and then the open hand. But it does have that molding on the back of the hand, which is different. So, other than that, they're the same, but they have the same 4 sets of hands. And then I talked about those already. Or maybe I didn't, but he does also have the closed-up version. This is, again, in the accessory box. So the figure itself comes with the hands and everything, but then the accessories, the weapons, are in the accessory box. Next up, let's do this guy next. So this is Utopia dopant, which I have to admit I don't really remember from Double, but he looks great. And he comes with a staff that actually comes in the packaging with the figure that is not from the accessory box. And he's got a lot of gold paint. You have the one exposed eye there, which looks cool. All of these really ornate shoulder pads. Now, they do get in the way of articulation, unfortunately, but they do look really good. And he's got some silver paint here for the gauntlet, and then his belt. And he's got gold all over here, a little bit of silver trim. He's got this cape, which is painted gold on the back and red on the inside, which is nice. And then some really nice gold down here for the shins. Just a really cool looking figure. I mean, really nicely sculpted. All the same articulation. I will say with the cape, you know, you can't really bend the torso back that far because that hits into the legs, but it's still fine. Just overall, it's a really cool looking figure. I don't really remember the character that much, but it's a nicely detailed painted figure. He looks sharp. I love that he actually comes with a cane. You don't have to get that from the accessory box. Now, as a result, I believe he does like to fall over. I think he's back heavy because of the cape, as you saw there. Do you want to stand? You want to help me out? No, we'll say. He comes with significantly less hands. I think that's because of the paint and everything, but honestly, it's fine. He's got kind of a grasping set, an open set, and a closed fist set, so kind of like the basics. Pretty much every figure at least has those 3 sets of hands, but that's all he has. And then last but certainly not least, we have Shodo. Now I've gone ahead and given him, these 2 pieces are from the accessory box. So this is a set of painted medals for the combo and a painted reader, and they just peg on the side. He cannot hold this. It's just meant to peg onto the side. Now he does come with a hand that has the reader and is holding the reader, but it is not painted. And then he's got an open set of hands, kind of a grasping set of hands. But since it's Shodo, I gave him the closed fist set of hands, because he's just punching everybody, let's be honest. But yeah, he looks good. Helmet nicely painted. You got the combo here on the chest, looking good. Shoulder pads do move and allow for a decent amount of motion, which is nice. And if you want to send these flying, you can. These will actually slide off. Now, it's going to pop the fists when I do this. The fist is going to pop out. So you can see that it's completely clear there. So basically, this just slides onto the forearm, and then you peg in the fist like you normally would. But if you wanted to fire these at someone, you could pretend that that's happening. You just... I guess technically, no, you couldn't. The fist would still fall off. So you can't really peg the fist in there, but you can send this piece. It will be, it is removable, I should say. And I will say it's kind of difficult to peg in the fists because it wants to, like, I naturally want to kind of grip it here so that I can push the fist in, and that makes me kind of accidentally pop this off. So that sometimes what I like to do is bend this at the elbow, and it makes it a little bit easier to kind of grab a hold of it. And then you can kind of put the fist in. Well, if I hold it right, come on. It's a narrow little space to get into. So if I get this lined up, and then I can push on the elbow. There we go. So, a little difficult to change out the hands for him, but still very cool. Looks good. And they did include, this is the scanner that I took off, but he does normally come with, he's knock over everybody. He does come with the unpainted version, just like all the others. So you can just switch off the painted version to whichever, version you want. But he also comes with these other painted versions. So we have one for Tataba, we have one for La Torata, and we have a green one for Gatakiriba, which I've already gone ahead and put on here, which looks really sharp. I like that. Now they do come with unpainted versions, so I took the unpainted versions off of these two. So, and then we have these two pieces that I still have no idea what these are or who these go to. It looks like they're supposed to maybe peg on someone's forearms or something. If anyone knows what these are, please tell me, because I have no idea. But you can combo change these guys. So if we, let's see, pop the head off here, and then this lifts up. I believe this lifts up. How does this pop out? There we go. The collar piece will pop off. So we'll do the same. Oh, this one actually came all together. That's nice. So you can just pop that on there. Pop this on. And then if you want to change the legs, all you have to do is pop this off at the abdomen joint. Now you will have to grab a hold of this piece and unpeg this. Do I have to? You know what? I think I have to take this all off. So this is the only part that's kind of annoying. So this has to come off. Then I believe this has to come off, even though you're not changing this part of it, because the other part is pegged underneath it. So then you'd have to lift this piece off. So let's do the same over here. We'll take this all off. Then we'll unpeg this. Come along, come on. There we go. So now we would have to take this piece here for Bata, pop that on. Then we would have to pop this back on for Gorilla. And then we would pop this back on. And where's the head? Here we go. And then we'll give him Bata's legs. So pop that on. Now again, if you're using the painted ones, it's not going to match. They don't include one for all the different possibilities. So you could leave it like this, or you could take this off and pop on one of the unpainted ones, just so it doesn't clash. And I have it upside down. No, do it? Yeah, I do. Come on, pop back on. There we go. So it's up to you. You could have the painted one that's slightly inaccurate, or you could use one of the unpainted ones. And then putting this one back together, we would have this, and then this, and then this, and that. So you can O's combo change, which I think is really cool. I love that. I love that they made it so easy. And they're all, painted. This is all Shodo, so there's no stickers or anything, and the pieces are easy enough to switch out, so I think that's cool. The only thing I will say is that Sugozo really could have used some paint down here. Now, because the elephant is kind of a dark gray, the original pictures made it look like maybe this was kind of painted a really dark gray, and the pictures just weren't capturing it. But in hand, I really don't think so. I think it's just black plastic. So that's kind of a bummer. All I would have really wanted is just like this here, the ears, and then the trunk for the shin. That's really all I would have wanted. Just paint that little bit, maybe a silver or something, because it just looks kind of plain. I mean, he's basically just black from the waist down, just the black plastic. So that's kind of a bummer. I still love the combo change. I think it's so great, but I mean, that would be like trying to imagine, Bata's legs not painted. And that's just kind of a bummer. Now, I know because it's a real dark gray and they thought, oh, we'll just get away with it because it's close enough to black. But They should have done something. And if you're trying to tell me that these actually are painted, I'm just not seeing it. I really don't think it's happening. In the pictures, it almost looked like there was a chance that maybe it was just a really dark gray, but in hand, I really don't see it. So that's a bit of a bummer. I mean, it's all nicely molded in there. So if you're a customizer and you want to paint it yourself, you certainly could, but I feel like they should have put a little bit of paint there on the legs. But other than that, these are great. I love the combo change ability. I love the painted versions for the main combos. Again, they can't provide painted versions for all of them, but you know, at least they gave you painted versions for the main combos. And now these guys don't want to stand. There we go. So I appreciate that, but those legs really should have been painted. So one last thing I wanted to point out, because I just noticed it as I was putting these guys back together. When I popped this head off, I thought it was really nice how this just completely came off with this. And it's actually made differently. So if we take a look at this, you can see that this piece is actually over the neck piece, the way that it's done, so that this piece here has to pull off the top section as well. And I thought to myself, oh, did this just get assembled incorrectly or something? You know, can I do that? And you actually can't, because if you look at it, this is built differently. So if we take this piece off, you can see that it has a base here, and so that I couldn't feed this, like even if I set this on top, there's no way, the way this is built, you can see that it's different. So this whole base here is wider, and then this cutout is meant to rest on top of that base, whereas this one, the base is part of this, and then this just sits on top. So they'll still swap with each other because the sizes are the same on the hole and the slit is the same, but it's actually made differently, which I thought was kind of nice. So that's kind of like a running change improvement thing that they've done. So unfortunately, you know, this will always, the head will come off and then you have to pop this part off, but they've now changed it up so that this, they've widened the neck base and then this piece actually rests on it. So that's nice. So when you change these out, these will always be a little easier than these. They're still completely compatible, as you saw, but I thought that was nice. It's kind of a running design change, and it's a definite improvement because it makes it easier to pop that off. So I just thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, this is a really good set. I like it a lot. It's not perfect. There are a couple things. You know, the hands for Zangetsu being black and painted white is not great, because when you have to take black plastic and paint it white, you have to glom on a lot of paint so the black doesn't show through, and I'm afraid that's going to wear over time. And they did it with his only set of gripping hands. If it was like a set of hands I didn't need to use, I wouldn't worry as much, but he needs his gripping hands for his accessories, and it's the only pair of gripping hands. I honestly might see if I can look to another figure and grab some white hands, even though they won't like match perfectly. I might just steal them from somebody else if they're not painted, because I don't really like that. Otherwise, everyone else is pretty great. Sugozo is great. I love that running change with the way the head's made. I do really wish his legs were painted, though. That's kind of my other major gripe, is that here I wanted white plastic not painted. Here I want the black plastic painted. They painted the wrong black plastic. But Utopia dopant's great. Decayed is great, even though you probably have one from something else. It's still a nice figure. And then our two Couga forms are also really good. So yeah, I mean, really, that's, you know, painting here and not painting here are really my only two complaints with the set. Otherwise, I mean, they're perfectly serviceable. There's nothing wrong with them. It's not like I'm not going to enjoy the figures, but that's my only two complaints. Otherwise, it's a great set. Definitely recommend checking it out. The accessory box is great. There's a ton of stuff in there. I love the inclusion of the painted versions of the drivers with the combos. That's fantastic. I love, like I said, the head redesign, the way that's changing. That's fantastic. So definitely a fantastic set to check out. I don't know when 7 comes out. I'm assuming it should be in the next month or so. I'm trying to remember I think Baron's in that set, which I'm looking forward to because Baron looks really good. So yeah, fun set. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.